Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where I share my spiritual journey, my healing journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, nothing but authenticity over here. So in this video, you guys, I want to talk about, singleness, okay? And my perspective and, and I guess we will call society's perspective. But so as you guys all know, if you watch my videos, you continue or you're new, I am a generational curse breaker. I'm very proud. And what that means, you're actually breaking lineages off your bloodline, okay? And when you are doing this, you're literally breaking those curses, okay? And I share a lot of my story, all the stuff I've been through, and continue talking about a lot of this stuff in my journey, you guys. And like I said, I came to that cross, in 2010, and I had a lot of all this stuff, I was following the same footprints as, the same footprints, the walk, as my mother, all this, generational things passing down. And so when my mom died in 2010, I was spiritually led. I felt, at the time I didn't have this where I'm at today, okay? A huge relationship or anything like that. I just knew something was leading me, okay? So throughout this journey, when you're seeking God when I was seeking God in my relationship, and who I was in this world and going through this healing process, and, I've learned that, life is about purpose, you know what I mean? And so, and one thing, like I said, I'm very led, and again, for myself, I had to break a lot of things, in my bloodline. Again, toxicity, narcissism, it was in, toxic, relationship, kind of thing, and so, just a lot of things, generational things, you know what I mean, that were not good from way, way, way back from my ancestral line, okay? And they were really strong in my bloodline, as you can see, as I share. And I really, really broke that, you know what I mean? And when I was going through the transition, you guys, especially these last couple of years, I went through awakening and healing and evolving and then all this stuff in my past and recent, so I was like, I literally felt like a curse break, okay? And when you go through all this stuff, you're breaking them off, and now you're walking into, I'm walking into the new, you know what I mean? And so you're like, one of the things is healing, and healing those wounds and that trauma in my walk and stuff like that. And so going through all this stuff like that, unhealed, and you're, especially when you're empath like me, and I share my story, you're just a giver. All my life I've given and helped as a young age, my parent, and all this stuff like that I share. And so then when I've broken all these curses, you guys, I was, and then going through all this in my recent past, like crazy, as we get back into this as a pause, but it's amazing how God showed me, you know what I mean? And I've seen so many people go in relationships, divorce, all this stuff like that. And I just and for me, he's in my walk, he taught me to, did it backwards, sort of, you know what I mean? And took me through this healing process, you guys, and again, heal my bloodline. And that's what happened. And like I said, you guys, I've never, felt so amazing. Like I just started, and this is, and this connection and that I've been sharing our story and stuff like that. And, and this dynamic, I've been, set free, you know what I mean? But I went through a lot, you guys, and, there's nothing more proud that I am to be broken off, and to enjoy my singleness. I see what my mom went through. I see what, you know what I mean? And being a generational curse breaker, she was, my dad, which wasn't there financially for her and mentally. And so then she met my stepdad, which was the narcissist, Anyways, and then she went to physical, mental abuse, financial abuse, had and struggled, and you know what I mean? And it breaks, my heart, what she went through. So, in my walk, sorry if I get emotional still. Anyways, I went through a process, Emotional is so beautiful, especially when you're talking about certain things and aligns with that is beautiful. Okay. I want to get that correct. You know what I mean? Get that correct. emotions are beautiful when they're used correctly. You know what I mean? That's why I share some of my videos about emotional abuse. Narcissists are very emotional abusive with that my recent past. Okay, and so as I healed my situation, it didn't work out. It worked out perfectly in God's eyes. And what He has for me and what He has aligned for me. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't able to even be in a relationship because I was unhealed. You know what I mean? If I would have been in a relationship, it would have been toxic. It would have been following the same curses that my mom was. You know what I mean? And then when you're a curse breaker, you're actually changing the way. And that's what I did. I paved the way. You know what I mean? I broke that and I healed and evolved. And so in my healed and singleness, I love, like, I knew this whole journey, this 15 and a half years, going on 16 years, I've learned to love. I love and I respect myself so much that I know what I want and what I deserve. Okay. And I love, you guys, I said, I just enjoy my singleness. I guess it's because my journey and I healed. I love it, you guys. And I see, like I said, I seen a lot as a child, seeing my mom go through what she went through. And I just didn't want that for my life, and that's what God obviously had for you. Sometimes you don't know what He has, and you're walking on this journey, and then you're like, God's like, well, actually, that's what I had. You know what I mean? And so it's just so funny, and in the world is like, you have to do this, you have to do this. I'm not a follower, you guys. One thing I learned in my journey, I'm a leader, okay? I do what's right for me and what feels right and what's aligned with God. You kidding me? And then, of course, I have free will, and so anyways, and if it does not, align with me, bye-bye. You know what I mean? And that's what I share this narcissist story and all that, you know what I mean? Especially when you're a curse breaker. I really felt like a curse breaker and docked it in the kingdom of heaven when I went through all this. Okay, guys? I'm not kidding you, okay? But this is real stuff. God won't allow this stuff that I went through without purpose, and it's changed me so much, you guys. I allowed this to change me and transform me and to know that what I never want in my life. You know what I mean? And it's so, I wouldn't say, and when I was going through the middle of this, in the deserve and all this stuff like that, but it was easy, or I cried a lot. I went through so much, okay? And, but I keep thinking, I love, you guys, I love myself so much, you guys, and I see all this toxicity, and we're getting into that stuff like that, and it's like, it is beautiful, you guys, to love yourself, okay? That way you're not damaged and going in the world. Let me go another relationship, let me damage myself more, let me damage myself more. You know what I mean? And versus, the Lord's way He showed me, I came to that cross broken and I went on this journey and He healed me, through my walk. And now I just value who I am. And when God feels that's ready, I don't care after going through this, I don't even care about relationship and anything like that, you know what I mean? And it's funny because when I was broken, it was the opposite, you know what I mean? Or, I went healed and stuff like that, and I see, oh, this, love, and this, that. And then when you go through the process that I went through, honey, you're like, oh, hell no, you know what I mean? And Lord, you find me a man that could fit every single dot, every single eyes, all this stuff like that you see fit my life, good. Otherwise, forget it, you know what I mean? But when you are whole within yourself, you don't need someone to complete you. I don't believe it. You are whole. God made you whole. Everybody made us whole. Okay? When you're born, everybody is born, even if you're twins. One comes out first, or triplets, or quadruplets, or whatever. One comes after another. You're all separate, okay? Anyways, and so, God created us whole. I know there's a saying I always hear people say, oh, He's my other half. No. Someone should be their own whole. They should be whole, and you should be whole. Because you don't need, especially I learned in this narcissistic connection and the generation curse I broke. Suffocating. Love is not suffocating. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be whole if I do. Choose that in my life. You know what I mean? Like another person, they're gonna be whole. They're gonna have confidence. They're gonna, what I radiate. You know what I mean? They're gonna know who the F they are, you know what I mean? In this world, they're gonna be humble. They'll be, you know what I mean? All these things, you know what I mean? And know who they are. They don't need somebody to sit there, you know what I mean? And that's what we talk about toxicity, you know what I mean? Constantly where they at, then you shouldn't be in that, let's be real, okay? And normally it's probably narcissists, you know what I mean? I share, but you shouldn't be having to worry about somebody and texting them where they at when they go to the grocery store, when they do something, are they going to cheat out of that? Then those are signs right there that the universe and God, whatever you go by, is telling you that it's not for you. You know, I learned so much. You guys are gonna hear so much, okay, on my journey, you know what I mean? And like, I'm honored, you guys. And so I want to share that, you know what I mean? And like I said, low vibrational energy, like, oh, you're single, you're lonely, all this like that. It's actually the opposite, you know what I mean? You know your value, you know your worth. You're not just gonna go take and grab anything, you know, on the street or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and I just want to share, it's so important, you know, as someone that's been there on the other end, unhealed, and then healed and evolved. Okay, and I love sharing this, you know what I mean? I love sharing it, you know, and it's like, because those are wounds of that you want, that you want to fulfill with a man or whatever. You feel like you needed someone, and that's not true, and God will not allow that. And those, you'll continue going through those brokennesses, you'll continue going through broken relationships like that, because God will try to teach you that that's not going to complete you. No one's going to make, people will add to your value in your life, okay? And whatever you are creating and stuff like that, you're like, who you are, as you're happy and whole as yourself, okay? Then God, you know, as you go forward and stuff like that, and whatever the union of God, when His timing's right, will add these things to your life, yes, and they'll add to your joy and so, of course. But you never depend. Trust me, as I learned in my walk, ever depend on nobody. You know what I mean? Like, and even when you have a relationship and God brings someone you could love and trust, you still can't. You know what I mean? Like, you are reliable for your own joy. Okay. And I mean this, like, nobody is job to make me happy. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, and it's no, you know, nobody, it's not my job to make nobody happy. Okay. Let me get that straight. You know what I mean? You know, and so I just want to share, you know, singleness is beautiful, or you could be in some fake relationship, you know what I mean, like with a mask, you know, I just share my story, but and you know, toxicity, cheating, lying, like who wants that, you know what I mean? And so I just really want to iterate about, you know, how beautiful it is, you know what I mean? And like I said, for myself, I went on this healing journey, and I don't know, I just enjoy it, you know what I mean? And then I got comfortable in my singleness, you know what I mean? Like, I'm good alone, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't match my energy, you know what I mean, meet up to my level, bye, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like I said, I share my past and all this with that. I'm here to evolve and to be the best version of myself, you know what I mean? I'm an imperfect person. I share my journey with you, every single thing from unhealed to healed to everything I've been through, you guys, okay? No shame. And it is beautiful, you guys. And the transformation is amazing. You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to entertain, like I said, like people with masks, like I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to, and it's not like a conceited, there's a difference, you know what I mean? A conceited settle is, I just know who I am, and you know, I want to be loved the way I love myself and the way God loves me. You know what I mean? Period. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Bye. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna, like I said, I share my videos. You know, breadcrumbing. You know what I mean? And no one's gonna effing breadcrumb me. You know what I mean? And no one's gonna mistreat me or ever talk down on me. Like I said, I am once you heal too, and I learned in my walk with the Lord, your value goes up, honey. You know, my value's gone up. I'm not that old person, you know what I mean? You evolved, you did so much work, and I continue doing work on myself, you know what I mean? And like I said, when you get in, like in the journey that I've been on, you guys, once you get through the hardest part, it's like it comes an addiction. You just want, okay, I want to do this better in my life. I want to do this way. I want to be better at this, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, that's about me, you know what I mean? And so, yeah. And like I said, along, you know, as you heal and you evolve and you walk in your path and you're working on yourself, boom, you know what I mean? Like, whatever God brings in your life, He brings in your life. You can't stop what God has for you. You know what I mean? Period. That's what I tell God. I was like, and God's like, and then people are like, oh, how much do you need to heal? How much do you need to stay? As long as I want, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I'm feeling good and I love myself, you know what I mean? Like, why do I care what anybody thinks? That's one thing about me, you guys. I don't care what others, you know what I mean? What others think or anything like that, or whatever they think. That's not their life. Mind you, this is my life. This is my walk. That's why I'm happy, because I choose what makes me happy instead of letting other people predict what makes me happy. You get what I'm saying? Two different things. You know what I mean? I don't listen to what society says. I don't listen to anybody but God, and my walk with God. If it doesn't make me happy, bye. You know what I mean? Period. You know what I mean? But I just really want to talk about, you know, singleness is beautiful. You know what I mean? It's not the opposite. Oh, you're alone. No. It's just people that know their value. They know their worth, and they won't take anything else. You know what I mean? Two different things versus somebody that will allow all this, you know, people and their energy and stuff like that. Two different things, you guys. Be careful with that, okay? Those that that will allow anybody and anything in their energy, you know? You remember, your value is like I said, I'm very valuable. I know what I could bring to the table, you know what I mean? I know who I am, you know what I mean? I know how powerful my energy is. I know everything, you know what I mean? Like, and again, I go through my own things and continue working on myself, you know what I mean? Better myself. Plus, in my situation, you guys, on my journey, every single thing from the day I come, I had no help, okay, but God in my life. Let me tell you that. So I always tell myself, I give myself effing credit. I don't go out here abusing men or abusing other things and give me here, you know what I mean? Like, and we'll talk about that more. But like, and trying to use them and stuff like that. I built something, I watched my mom go through. I'm not going through that toxicity, you know what I mean? Like, or anything like that, you know what I mean? I wanted to work hard. I wanted to change my bloodline. And like I said, I saw what she went through, you guys, and I fought hard because I didn't want to be walking that footsteps. And I remember her telling me over and over before she passed away, don't follow my footsteps. I made a lot of mistakes, you know what I mean? And she would drill it in my head, and I'm so thankful. Yes, she wasn't perfect, but she did what she could with what she had, you know what I mean? And she was failed, you know what I mean? Those men failed her. And I love my dad, don't get me wrong, and he couldn't, provide for her and stuff like that. And my stepdad abused her, all that stuff like that. And she was just, she was failed. I'm not going to go through that. You know what I mean? I'd rather stay single and build my own life. You know what I mean? I don't need to, I don't need some broken man to come in here and breadcrumb me. You know what I mean? Hell no, And so, once you, like I said, and those that know, do that work on yourself. You trust me. Your value goes up. You do the inner work. You continue doing the inner work. It's going to go. You're just going to keep, you know what I'm saying? And all those people drop off. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not, like I said, I just was so determined, you guys, to not go through what my mother did, and I did, and I'm not saying my path wasn't perfect. I've been, you know what I mean? And every single step of my journey, I had to do on my own, you know what I mean? While helping other people along my journey, you know what I mean? And giving, you know what I mean? I'm amazing, And I just learned through my healing journey that, yeah, I'm not going to be, like I said, now, instead I broke all these curses. Now I'm walking into my healed version. You know what I mean? I shed all this, what do they call it? Shedding off all this old layers of you. You know what I mean? The old past, the old person that, you know what I mean? Like that was not you. You know what I mean? That's the unhealed you. You know what I mean? And so you had to shed all, like the shedding the snake. You know what I mean? Like it's shedding layers of you. You know what I mean? And you're evolving, right? And that person, and not just that, having a burial for that person. You know what I mean? Like I have a burial for that old person I was. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with it and stuff like that. But God just showed me in my walk what I needed to heal. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm very thankful. I love it. I love who I become, and I love standing in that. You know what I mean? And when you really go through this journey, trust me, you're not going to want that. You know what I mean? When you really heal those wounds and you fulfill those, you heal those holes. You're whole. You don't feel like you need anything to fill you up anymore. You know what I mean? From alcohol, drinking, drugs, anything like that. You know what I mean? I've been through this process, you guys. I mean, like, it's just amazing, you guys. And, again, and like I said, I look at my point, from a view that I'm pretty bad, you know what I mean? Pretty badass, excuse my language. But, like, I look at myself and it's like, wow, I'm proud. Like, I heal my bloodline, you know what I mean? You guys don't know how hard, I mean, like, if you gotta be in my footsteps, how hard. And I could just like and so I'm proud of myself, and that's where my confidence comes from, you know what I mean? Confidence comes from you can't, like God in my walk, like the video I shared with Jelly Rolls, like that has confidence, right? And God, that's what God does in your relationship, okay? And you start this little ball of person, like I started in 2010, and then he go through all this transformation in your walk, and you just like, wow, like you're just this new person, you know what I mean? And it's because you shed it out, all that you healed, and you kept evolving, you kept learning lessons in life, and then you kept growing in that, you know what I mean? If you don't learn the lessons in life, you're gonna stay at that level. That's why I meet some people, you can go back and 10 years later they're still in the same spot, you know what I mean? Or 4 or 5, 6, you know what I mean? It's because they're not choosing and that's a choice, okay? Because I had to choose a lot of lessons along my journey. It wasn't hard. I seen people, and I would like becoming to God, even being a leader, you know what I mean? It's like I had to go across a lot of people, even unhealed, and learn what God wanted me to learn, and and it was hard, it's like, okay, and just learning to hold my tongue and just do all this stuff like that, and to be professional, and just to really take corrective criticism a lot. 15.5 years, and I've been in programs, all this stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, God, I remember God just teaching me, you know what I mean? Like, and I wanted to be better, and and so I would learn, and then I'll throw away whatever the rest, you know what I mean? Sorry, but anyways, but I would throw away anything because, people have their opinions, blah, blah, blah. I dealt with a lot of, like I said, I share narcissism, all about that, stuff like that. And there's certain people, if they're like, there's a lot of people that in this world, you guys, that walk that talk the talk and don't walk the walk. Again, it's narcissist, you know what I mean? Like, and so, and or wear masks and stuff like that. And then there's people like me that actually walk the walk, then talk the talk. Okay, two different types of people. Okay, so remember that, and but anyways, I just remember, you guys, like, I wanted better for myself, and I went out of it. Like the hem of the garment, she touches the hem of his garment, and Jesus goes, "Who touches me?" And he goes, "Me." And then they're like, "Oh, everybody's touching you." No, somebody. She went because she believed by faith that she was going to be healed, and she just had to reach out, and she did. That was my story right there, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? And I just said, God, by the hem of your garment, I believed it. I believed it, and I was healed. You guys, I mean, oh man, all those like. I mean, just unbelievable. You know what I mean? And anyway, so I just wanted to share, about Seal. I really want to iterate that. You know what I mean? Like, it is so beautiful, you guys. Like, I love, because you get to know yourself. You really, really, truly need this. Like I said, I share my story. People don't even know themselves and go in a relationship. It's like, I mean, the things that I've seen, okay, you guys, like, I was like, no. And so he did it backwards with me. And I promote healing. I really do. And singleness, you know what I mean? And really getting to know yourself and allowing God or the universe, whatever you go by. I'm a very spiritual person, you know what I mean? Very led by God. You'll hear that a lot. And, and then allow them to make it happen. I'm telling you, you don't need to. I could tell you that, you guys. You're just going to be on your journey, doing your work, doing whatever, and then boom, okay? I cannot tell that enough, you know what I mean? And I just really want to iterate, focus on yourself. If I could share, and that's what God has been doing, He's shown me, like, stay single and focus on yourself. You know what I mean? Look in that mirror. You know what I mean? Should you even be in a relationship? First off, you know what I mean? Especially unhealed and toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, it's like, it's just going to be toxic. You know what I'm saying? And so, anyways, but I broke that, I broke this as I share my, my generational curse story, and how everything, and again, like I said, I evolved and I learned and I continue to learn, you guys, and grow. And again, so I just wanted to share that, I love my singleness, you guys. Like, I am very proud. If you come around, like, those that I allow in my energy, like I said, is so valuable. It's so funny because now I'm working on some stuff, but charge for my time, you know what I mean? Like, you spend 30 minutes with me, your life will be changed. That's how powerful my energy is, guys. I know that, you know what I mean? And that's where your value is, okay? And knowing that, you know what I mean? And so that's where we're looking to work on. I'm working on some stuff to, because I really genuinely want to help people as well, but now it's gone up. So yeah, like I said, so I'm working on some stuff, but I'll share that in another video. But to help others, you know what I mean? And to be able to be there when I can, and but yeah, it's like so amazing, you guys. When you heal and you really know yourself, you're gonna feel the same way, you know what I mean? And those that have, and
Good night. Here is your sleep music routine.
And yeah, like I said, when God when that times, whatever that is God feels, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, but again, I'm building and creating myself. Like I said, my mother, I made a promise to God and my mom and first off myself, that I'm gonna love the F out of myself, you know what I mean, before anybody. Because if you can love yourself, then you can love somebody else. You don't love yourself, you cannot love somebody else. You cannot pour into a healthy, whole relationship. Or you're gonna be pouring your trauma into them. A trauma. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not healed, so I'm gonna go and pour all my trauma to you. You get what I'm saying? And I see this, it's like a trauma, it's called your trauma relationship, so whatever, or trauma, But anyways, guys, thank you for listening. And yes, and we'll get back to my narcissist. We gotta yeah, talk about this, you know. I'm just like like I'm already like I said, so done. And so done, you know what I mean? Like, and but anyways, yep, back to the main, what is it called? But stay beautiful, okay, guys? Stay single and love yourself. I guarantee you will not go wrong. And then everything else is beautiful after that. You just align with everything, you guys, okay? It is so beautiful. I cannot explain it enough. And I went through so much trauma in my life, you guys. And I cannot iterate that enough. My peace, I get to choose this, I get to eat this, I get to do, you know what I mean? I get to love myself. And therefore, when I go into other, you know, new friendships I'm going into, all this stuff like that, it pours into them, you know what I mean? And they pour into me back. Equal give and take, you know what I mean? It's not 50-50. It's like, when you find people that really genuinely love you and and the same as you are, they pour into you. You don't have to sit there and, oh, you poured into me, I give me this, like how do you say, a transactional thing? No. When you are authentic and real, it's like, here, I want to do this for you, just cause, or they want to do it for me, just cause, you know what I mean? And that's beautiful, and that's how it should be, you know. And no, there's no, like, what is it called? There's no Indian giving here, you know what I mean? Like, narcissists, like Indian give here, I give you this and then I give you back. So that's another thing too. Don't take, you know, yeah, it was another video. Sorry, guys. I'm just talking. But I just want to share that and talk about the singleness and just, you know, in my perspective and you know, as a generation curse breaker and as someone that came from brokenness and healed and evolved in this last 15.5 years, going on 16 years, and walking into, you know, this healed, high vibrational version of myself, you know what I mean? And so thank you, guys, and have a good night, and I'll see you on my next video, and God bless you, and thank you, so much growth again on this channel, you guys. Like, I love that I'm documenting this, you know, and I wish I would have a lot more. I have another channel and I'm trying to get all those videos so I get, because I look back and I try to look at myself and see how much growth I've done. You know what I mean? It's so amazing. It's so cool to see the transformation. You know what I mean? And in your life, and that's what it's all about, you guys. And yeah, God bless you, and see you next one. Bye.